Hey, good to see you, Brian. Good smiling. Okay, give me just one minute. I don't know. Oh yeah, Mr. Manning, okay? Oh yeah, just doing I
Made it across the river. Yeah. Thank you. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm going to be with you. They gave me 5 days.
We're just talking about learning more about religion. You don't want
in the 9th century in Baghdad, there was the first treatise written on the eye, and described all the parts of the eye, written by an Arab Christian in a Muslim city, and which has been studied up to this day and age, and we're just reflecting upon how beautiful it is to have so many people from different faiths and cultures come together so that we can benefit from each other. So the only prayer that I want to make is a very simple prayer that I ask that God Almighty open the doors of understanding for all of us and allow all of us to grow closer together as brothers and sisters in faith, and that we exit this room becoming better people and becoming more beneficial to the creation that we see around us. Thank you so much.
And from young kids to elders, we're working together. There's a lot more we're going to do, and I know Dan and Andra will lead us in that discussion. So we'll go ahead and get with the program, and we're going to have a small group discussion first, and that will go till about 2:55 p.m. And then we're going to have Asr prayer for the Muslim community to go up to pray. Then we'll resume at about 3:15 p.m. for the text study, led by Rabbi Jeffrey Sachs and Shad Imam. And then we will have at around 4:05, 4:10 p.m. Dan Spiro and Andra Bailus. They will lead us through the current state of Muslim-Jewish relations and work in DMV area. So with that, I'm going to now introduce Rabbi Hannah Spiro. It's been an honor working with her for the past few years on this steering committee, and she is the rabbi for Hill Havara, which is the Capitol Hill Jewish community. Just so you know, obviously, she's Rabbi Hannah Spiro. Her father is Dan Spiro. Obviously, the wonderful leadership runs in the family, and we appreciate again their dedication and leadership in the area. And again, Rabbi Hannah is leading the Capitol Hill Jewish community. She has invited Muslims and Christians for interfaith events at her synagogue and for different events in DC, and we truly appreciate that. And I'm honored to introduce Rabbi Hannah Spiro.
Okay, so I hope people have gotten their small talk out of the way because we are truly jumping right in. And I think maybe there are a lot of important points this afternoon, but this could be one of the real core moments. So listen up. You have a small piece of paper in front of you, and we are being asked to choose at the table a topic or two, or maybe more if we get to more, that has been really getting to us and to our community. So you can see Islamophobia and anti-Semitism, gender concerns, thinking of the Me Too movement, thinking of gender equality, gender variance, climate change, gun violence, societal polarization in politics and elsewhere, and the role of politics in congregational life. And the congregational rabbi would probably say number 6 is like reflecting on all the first 5. So there's some questions that we're going to be thinking about as tables. What have our communities been doing to address these issues? What's gone well that we might encourage others to try? What challenges have we faced? What hasn't gone as well? It'll be interesting to hear what folks as individuals are grappling with these topics, but also folks here are part of the leadership of congregations in lots of different ways, and part of the leadership of Jewish communities, and Muslim communities, and interfaith communities.
Actually brought a mosque process into our community under our roof. We've been for 52 years now meeting in the same campus with Rabbi Hills Presbyterian Church. So as far as we know, there's only one other mosque quite.
I don't mean to be
Hi. This is my, I guess, summit, so I'm really excited to be here today.
I was just going to say that it's in Maryland.
Well, I'm not so sure about that.
And involved with interfaith work for many years. I don't know why I'm here. This is my hobby. You're the reason why we are here. New executive director of the forum, which is doing interfaith.
It is an exception of an exception of an exception, and I will never.
We do all kinds of different kinds of talks.
Events like you would when we're just kidding and saying you're not going to be able to land it. So anyhow,
So I want to ask a question related to the thing we've been trying to talk about. We said we were going to try to look at number 5.
On politics and on societal issues. There's some good things that are going on. The kind of talk about in the Boy Scouts, the relationship committee, having some of the different youth within the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts working together.
The folks here through Jemat who have Jews and Muslims out there together vocally, whether it's going to marches, going to Capitol Hill, the lobby, we should be doing that together. And that will we also will be working very hard on Islamophobia and anti-Semitism.
That I live in Montgomery County, so I sat with Montgomery County folks. And we, all of us really talked about interfaith. All our congregations are very strong in interfaith. And I feel like interfaith directly addresses anti-Semitism, anti-Islamism. And so one of the things that came out is like how we can be successful with interfaith is that we focus on our shared values rather than politics. So we have the DJC here that's very active in gun violence, but they don't maybe necessarily focus on calling political differences to mind rather than focus on their shared values around preventing violence and being on a large scale. So
We can go over there also to do that. And
before we do that, there will be a sign-in sheet that will be going around. Has that already been handed out yet?
No, I think these tables created. We've got
Okay.
We've been registering people
Okay.
at the front, so we have all that.
Then we can use them.
So this is the way.
And what Sean and I did with help and guidance from the steering committee is we chose 2 pairings of texts to put, and then there are Jewish texts contemporaneously with Muhammad and the Quran. And so I wanted to provide some of those commentaries from much later, chronologically, so that we would be comparing texts that were closer to from the same time.
there is a special miraculous event that happened in the life of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, in which he was actually taken from Mecca through the heavens. And we believe, as Muslims, we believe that was a physical journey that took place where he went to Jerusalem, and from Jerusalem prayed with all of the prophets, and then actually went and was ascended through the heavens. الصالحين فبشرناه بغلام حليم فلما بلغ معه السعي قال يا بني إني أرى في المنام أني أذبحك فانظر ماذا ترى
ויאמר אליו אברהם ויאמר הנני ויאמר קח נא את בנך את יחידך אשר אהבת את יצחק ולך לך אל ארץ חמיה והלכו שם לעולם על אחד ההרים אשר אומר אליך.
Different to the one in the Holy Torah, and actually the meaning of the whole story was very grappling with the meaning and what it actually means. And I think we reached some kind of agreement at the very end that it is not meant to be the literal act of force of killing, but it is meant to be the symbolic meaning of how willing or how far are you willing to go to give what you love the most for the sake of God.
This rabbi argued that the story should have been when people went back to Palestine. And I sort of thought the Quran version of the story suggested that a little bit, that he asked Isaac if he should go. Because what you think, where in the Torah version, he just went up to kill him, and that there are times when we need to rethink what we believe to be an instruction from God. The question is, are you responsible? And when what's being asked is too much, it could be wrong, as we understand that in fact, the midwife suggests that Sarah actually died because her husband was going to kill her son. That did it, so that there is a view of the story of the human humility. Thinking we know what God really wants with the cost to a higher person.
As Quran suggests that if you go to the 105, it says that you had a dream, you interpreted the dream, and you fulfilled the dream. That was not my order.
Right.
So that's how some of the Muslim interpreters go, because of the theology of the possibility of God ordering this even as a test.
The topic of, that we will be discussing next is basically the current state of Muslim-Jewish relations in the DC, Virginia, Maryland area. And so, without just a couple of footnotes, at 4:49, we need to conclude, do a group photo, and then at 4:53, break for prayer, because at 4:55 upstairs will be the sunset prayer. So we want at 4:49 get everybody here for a group photo that are here, and we'll conclude with a group photo and a collective prayer when we're doing the photo. Probably that's what we'll probably go to. We have Rabbi Rachel Hirsch will conclude with a prayer. So with that, I'm going to invite our two chiefs, our co-conveners. We appreciate their leadership in Greater Washington Jewish Muslim Forum, Jewish Islamic Dialogue Society, and Jamaat. I give you our chief, your chiefs, Dan Spiro and Andra Baluz.
Come before you, and we might talk about the wonderful things that JIDS is doing as a dialogue society, with the wonderful topics of discussion, pulling the Muslim and Jewish community together and educating. Or we talk about Jamaat, which is doing wonderful things to be able, to bring the communities together. But today is going to be a little different. Today, it's really about you. And it's about what you can offer to us, because we're offering to you a lot of these wonderful organizations trying to do something. But in the final analysis, it's what you might be able to offer to us, giving us ideas. And you can feel comfortable talking, we're among friends here, to be able to talk and tell us what more can we do in the organizations that we are part of. And then what can you do? And this is really, Imam, what your question was. How can we bring this kind of information, this kind of association, this kind of camaraderie to our respective congregations? And so with that, I'm going to give you Dan Spiro, who will continue with this. But this is really important, folks. This is where the rubber meets the road. And it's what you do today that makes the future. We began by a dialogue. We talked about current, present-day issues. Then we dove into the past about the wonderful teachings and learnings that you can learn from the Torah and the Quran, but now we need to move into the future. And that was your question. What are we going to do about the future? And the future is based upon what we...
So you all have a list of 27 organizations that are involved with Jewish, Muslim engagement or other interfaith engagement. You should have it, I think. Yeah. We want you to take a look at that for just a minute or two, and that will take the time away from us having to give discussions about our little groups. So just let your eyes just go down these pages for a moment. This is all happening in our city. How many organizations and how many activists, how many people are there interested in this stuff in this area? So imagine if there was like 1,000 of these, and there was 1,000 people really interested, and each one has his own organization. They'd be pretty lousy organizations, wouldn't they? One person going to each one. Actually, we would all go to one another's, but then we'd be crazy. So we have a bit of an issue here, right? And it's not altogether different than synagogues and masjids. We're islands. And we call ourselves bridge builders, but we're really just building bridges inside our own respective islands. And that's one of the reasons there's so much Islamophobia and anti-Semitism in our respective communities is we don't go outside of our island. We just hear our echo chamber. What can you all do for these organizations so that they're not really islands, but they're building bridges from one part of the town to the next? And what can we, who are involved in organizational work, what can we do better to serve you if you're involved in congregations? How can all this energy be used together more efficiently? So we could be doing this in small groups, but you'll know that we're not. We've got these little boards over here, and when we hear suggestions from you all, because we're going to leave it to you in a moment, that seem to resonate with other people, we're going to start writing stuff up there.
Alhamdulillah, doing a lot of stuff. Occasionally, Rizwan pulls me over. I'm in Prince William. I try to get people to go to the interfaith concert. There's a little small group that I can get to if you drive. So I have to drive that. I'm limited with how many people I can get in my car who will go into Washington. All right, but how many of you would come out to Prince William? All right.
Brochures, one-page brochure, two-page, more than that, on the same topic.
Can I ask?
I have two quick thoughts. One, in the Jewish community, we have many Jewish organizations, but we have organizations that facilitate supporting others. Typically, the Jewish Federation of the Washington area works to help promote others. So maybe what you actually need is another organization. Or a coordinating entity that helps raise it up. I would just add the other thing is, we need public forces for this work. In places of recognition and power, I know I'm hesitating to say this because it's self-directed, right? My son is a member of the Virginia legislature, and I know he struggles with these issues in that environment. So I think getting public voices to get this topic and this sentiment more broadly out there as a modern day value is critical, and working these groups together, combining the strength that's here individually, because to some degree, great good within smaller entities, or working within our immediate community, shouldn't be thinned out because we need to be broader and bigger. So it's really about how to coordinate what's here and not replacing it, and then helping to bring that voice up. I think the ideas are very good part of it. Basketball leagues, and I remember when my grandkids were older now, sitting on a school bus, and all of a sudden the line wasn't like when I was a kid. It was very multi-racial, multi-ethnic. It's out there, but it's bringing people together. But anyway, it's coordinating bodies to help bring these voices louder, and bring these larger voices instead of very.
Very, very important, because as we know, the principle of the media focuses on the principle of conflict, and it leads, and there's very little coverage of good events like this one. And in public relations, we say public relations is doing good work but telling others about it. So I totally second everyone who said we should actually have a strong social media presence. How can we do that? I can try to get some of my own students from the Department of Communication at the University of Maryland to try to intern for organizations like JIDS and try to actually work on your website and try to get coverage for some of the events and activities we do. If we do the coexistence, basketball league, if we do other events, other summits like this one, it's not enough to have 30, 40, 50 people in the room. Of course, we are influencers, public opinion leaders, which is awesome, but we need to get the word out to hundreds.
With the support of Israeli hospitals, we bring children to housing children who are very sick to Israeli hospitals, many other things. We also have a local social service component, and that's what I wanted to mention briefly, the idea of doing social service together. So we have, some of our folks have done, Andrea was talking about Samaritan Village, I think she mentioned. We also went to the America's Most Islamic History Museum a week or so ago, a couple of weeks ago, and gave food to hungry residents. But that's an amazing place too. That's in Anacostia, and so part of our commitment is working in the inner city. So I'd like to bring that to folks' attention. I mean, that museum is worth a visit. It's an incredible place. Nobody knows about it. The other thing I just want to finish very quickly is that we're going to be doing a conference here at Adams on February 9, which will be sponsored by Private Urbana and Adams, and we're going to be inviting churches, mosques, and synagogues to participate, to do some, I think, food packaging here, or and then eventually take it in. But we're going to be encouraging all of these whole interfaith community to be part of this, and maybe to consider at that event the idea of how can we do social service and community service together. We seem to be doing that. That's a very important piece of all three of our faiths, and yet we tend to do this separately. So
I'd like to be part of an effort where we use our music and the arts to bring our people together, and to also share with the greater public, and also to use public spaces to share that, our music and also our arts. So I'm signing up for that.
People of the region as a whole. One thing we can do is look for how can we meet the people, address the people in our own physical communities and neighborhoods. Two ways: talk with the people, the clergy people in the churches, the houses of worship in our neighborhoods. And secondly, get on something called nextdoor.com. It is a community-based bulletin board and message board. The one in this part of Northern Virginia, Great Falls, some of McLean, Sterling, has now over 28,000 members to it. And you can be sure that whenever anything public happens involving Adams, they find out about it on Nextdoor. I see to that personally. Everybody in here should take a look at Nextdoor and say, how can I reach people in my neighborhood, people I can get together with physically and personally for lunch and dinner as well, and on other occasions? What can this do so that I can reach them and that I can start listening to them, that we can all start listening to each other and meeting each other in person?
I just got the sign out there, and what I would like to see is some key folks sitting down or deciding by email what types of things we respond to. If there's something outrageous, coming from the president, the so-called.
35 seconds.
And some of us could run up to the White House with the sign or with something else and raise hell, or join up with the larger marches already. But I think we'd have more visibility when something ridiculous happens and we're standing outside the White House. So I'd like to see us have some small deciding group, which categories, and put out the word, and we can spring right into action and be there the next day or in 2 weeks.
Great. I'm walking over this direction, but before I continue, if you are involved in a congregation,
so I think in order to get rid of a little bit of this hatred, we should bring people from both sides, from Israel and Palestine, talking on the people, just to make people know that we have similarity. The understanding is there, but at the same time there is misunderstanding. You know, I mean personally, I participated in a program called called the Mutual Leadership Program, which brings 4 Palestinians and 4 Israelis. And personally, I never read and I never knew about the people. I always knew that they are all in, you know. And the same goes to the Israeli side. They want, I mean, a bit part of the Israelis realize that or know that or think that ours are in, you know. So I think these programs can create a new atmosphere of understanding between both sides.
I think we had room for 250. We had something like 400 people show up. And you had a wonderful, you said something, it was a Muslim saying about the food will last or something. And it did. I mean, it was amazing. We ordered food for like 250 people. We fed something like 350 people that night. I don't know how it happened. What I'm saying is the appetite for that sort of almost purely social. Let's just start organizing some dinners. We've had at our temple, we've had a Shabbat dinner series where just people volunteered to host, and they threw out, I have this is my family with this kind of kids, you know, or not kids or whatever. We can host this many people, and we just put them all on a list, and people signed up, and we went to each other's houses. I'm thinking, let's do that across our faith. Let's get that just purely social thing. And I'll have lunch with you too, as long as it's not during the weekday at Montgomery Mall, because I work down there.
Those of us that are so familiar with one another, we love one another, we're getting together, but let's say, I was going to call you Imam Jeff. All right, Imam Jeff means teacher also, Rabbi Jeff. Rabbi Jeff represents how many people in your congregation?
We have 5,500 people.
5,500 people is just one man.
No.
Well,
I have a large clergy team.
He has a large clergy.
He's not the Wizard of Oz.
But nonetheless, he has there are more rabbis working, I understand, but still, these 3 or 4 or 5, how many, have 5,500 people. Each one of you has into the thousands of people. You can imagine. So we have to think, how do we bring those thousands of people together to learn so that Jewish people understand what's a chuppah? They will know. This is really important. So not only a food court, exchanging chuppah sermons with each other, visiting religious schools. I wrote that down. You can do that, but you have to come together with your partner to be able to go in and plan that and to do that. That's doable, I think, for the clergy. Music and arts in public spaces, that's what Rabbi David suggested. So maybe those particular rabbis and imams that are given to music, you can plan something like that. Inviting congregations to celebrate holidays. You can ask people in your congregation. It's not a big responsibility for you because we need to honor your time because you're so busy. But certainly you may be able to choose some people in your respective congregations to arrange you're having Hanukkah or something. Make it a thing and invite people to a Hanukkah celebration. You have you have Ramadan. So many times, I've come many times to your mosque, which is wonderful. Yes, absolutely. So then recruiting congregations for Shias and Jamats and bring Israelis and Palestinians together, you can arrange that in your respective congregations. So my timekeeper here says like 1 minute or 30 seconds. So what I'm going to invite you to do is to please come up here as clergy and be able to sign your names with a pen or whatever here. Put your name, put your congregation if you can, write it in, and let's see how many of these things you can then promote and push forward.
Important congregation in Northern Virginia. Maryland. Oh, with Rabbi Fred. Yes, okay. Maryland, all right, we love Maryland. So I give you Rabbi Rachel Hirsch.
Yeah, everybody would like to stand. I want to offer a closing prayer that's a free interpretation of a small verse from Psalm 122, which says,
Well, we call the prayer and then we'll do that. It's okay, we have time. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll just add on to that. Shalu Shlom Yerushalayim, Shlom Yerushalayim, Shlom Yerushalayim, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. Nasel min adel salam fil kuz, salam fil kuz, salam fil kuz, salam, salam, salam. Pray for the peace of Israel. Pray for the peace of Ishmael. Pray for the peace of all the world. Shalom.